Now you have to say this is the best of both worlds. Good for you, nice and healthy, and easy. Oh, we like this, don't we? Bit of fish. Actually, what's important is some good fish. There I've got some grouper. It's often called hapuka as well. And nice steaky fish with good flavour. It also lasts well. When I say that, you know, shelf life for fish is very, very important. I mean, things like snapper and whiting, which, you know, are a lot more delicate. And when I say snapper is a lot more delicate, it actually is. If you have a look at a snapper, you see that the flesh is actually quite loose. When you start getting into the more dense fishes like blue eye and grouper and kingfish and things like that, as you can see there, just have a look there, Harry, you can see how dense that flesh is. You know, that will last longer than those. It really would. It'll last longer than the other fish, which means it has a better shelf life, and therefore, even though you want it as fresh as possible, you're not going to have a problem with it from most reputable fishmongers. Did you understand what I was talking about then? I did. Anyway, just buy from a good fishmonger, and as I said, something dense like that is a terrific fish to use. Now what I've got here is some low-fat yogurt, and I'm putting 4 tablespoons into a bowl. This would be enough for more than just these couple of fish, or couple of pieces, I should say. And a couple of good teaspoons of sun-dried tomato tapenade. You could use pesto if you like. You could use an olive tapenade, although I think an olive tapenade's a little bit too strong. And to that we're also going to add just some chopped parsley. Once again, you could vary that by adding whatever herbs you like. Doesn't necessarily have to be parsley. But parsley's pretty freely available. I know in my backyard it grows between all the cracks. It's one of those herbs that, you know, can grow anywhere. You can have it on your windowsill, you can have it out in your garden. As I said, once it takes on the garden, it then grows everywhere. So it's pretty freely available, whereas some of the other herbs are a little bit more difficult to grow. But if you're buying them, buy whatever you like. Now, we don't need to chop this too finely. I want it to have some texture. So a couple of tablespoons, just throw that in, mix it all together well. And then we just grab that fish, put it in a deepish dish, because I'm going to put this in the microwave, and you don't want the cling wrap or the Glad wrap actually touching the fish if possible. And we put a decent amount of that on each piece of fish. The quantity I did there is certainly enough for 4 portions, and I'm doing a reasonably smallish portion here because it's quite rich with that yogurt actually. So I'm not using huge amount of fish. It's about 120 grams per piece. It is quite thick though, remember. So it's mostly bigger than it looks. And if I can work out what I'm doing, I'm hopeless. Well, if I can work it out, I will then just put that in the microwave. So it's covered well, not touching the fish. When you use things like Glad wrap in the microwave, the idea is that you don't touch the ingredients you're cooking. When I say things like Glad wrap, any of those kitchen wraps, you don't want that to come. Now, 3 minutes. While that's happening, let's think about what I'm also going to serve with it. I'm also going to serve some green beans. I've just topped and tailed those, and I want them crispy and crunchy for sure, but I don't want them too undercooked. And the reason being is because if they're too undercooked, the contrast with this fish doesn't quite work. When you're doing an Asian type dish, a different type of thing. So I'll throw those in now, and they'll take about the same amount of time as the fish will. As I said, 3 minutes. All right, we're pretty close here, so I'll just get these beans out. See, they're still crisp and crunchy. Look, I'm not going to go on about that. I've already gone on about that. And what I'm going to do with those is just spray the smallest amount of olive oil spray on them. Just to moisten them a little. You don't need anything more than that. And then we'll pull out that fish. It's looking great. Why am I so surprised? I shouldn't be surprised, should I? Just be careful. It will be hot and the steam will be boiling when you pull that off, so always be careful of things like that. And then we'll just grab one of these pieces of fish, put that on top of the beans, just like that. Grab a spoon, because those juices will be delightful, because the juices will not only have that yoghurt and that sun-dried tapenade mixed through them, you'll now have the fish juices. So you'll have sort of like a natural stock there. So it's going to taste great. Clean up the plate. And as I said to you, there is nothing better in the world than something that is not only good for you, but it's easy to do. And look at that. Hey, that's one of the easiest dishes you'll ever see in your life.